Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, looking out at the stars. His vessel, the UES Horizon, had been traveling through space for 3 months. They were explorers, searching for other life among the stars. Jake never expected to find what waited for them today. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of computers. Lieutenant Lisa Hayes sat at her station, watching the screens that showed space around them. She was the ship's language expert, trained to talk with alien species if they ever found any. Dr. Amanda Walsh worked at the science station studying everything they discovered on their journey. "Captain," Lisa called out, her voice excited. "I'm picking up a signal. It's not natural. Someone made this." Jake walked over to her station. "Can you tell where it's coming from?" Lisa pointed at her screen. "About 2 million kilometers ahead. The signal is getting stronger." Jake looked at the main screen. At first, he saw only stars and empty space. Then something began to appear. It was huge, much larger than their ship. The object was smooth and white, almost like crystal. It moved through space without making any sound they could hear. "That's not human technology," Dr. Walsh said quietly. Jake nodded. After decades of humans exploring space, they had never seen anything like this. "Open communications," he ordered. Lisa worked at her controls. "Channel open, sir," a voice came through the speakers. It sounded strange, like music mixed with words. Then their computer began translating the alien speech into English. "Greetings, beings of the third planet. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. We welcome you to the greater community of space. Please tell us your species name and which world you come from." Jake looked at his crew. This was the moment humans had dreamed about for centuries. First contact with alien life. He stepped forward. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human species. We come from the planet Earth in the Sol system." There was silence. The alien ship stopped moving. Jake could see lights flashing on its surface, but they seemed different now. Not welcoming. "Lights, but warning lights. Did you say Earth?" the alien voice asked. "Yes," Jake replied. "We call our home planet Earth. It's the third planet from our sun." The alien ship suddenly moved backward, away from them. The lights on its surface were flashing faster now, like an alarm. "Earth," the alien said again. The voice sounded scared. Lisa looked at Jake with confusion. "Sir, I'm detecting massive communication bursts from their ship. They're sending signals in all directions." Jake frowned. All they had done was tell the aliens their planet's name. Why would that cause fear? "Wait," Jake called out. "We want to talk. We come in peace." But the alien ship was already moving away at incredible speed. Within minutes, it was gone, leaving only the stars and darkness. Behind, Dr. Walsh studied her instruments. "Captain, before they left, I recorded their communications. The computer is trying to translate them." "What did they say?" Dr. Walsh looked worried. "The words keep repeating. Emergency, danger, alert, and one word that appears over and over." "What word?" "Earth." Jake stared at the empty space where the alien ship had been. "Why would they be afraid of Earth? We're just explorers." Lisa was still working at her station. "Sir, I'm picking up more signals, lots of them. Ships are moving all across this region of space." "Moving where?" "Away from us." Jake sat down in his captain's chair. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. In every story humans told about meeting aliens, there was talking, sharing of knowledge, maybe some problems to work out. But fear, panic, running away. "Set course for home," Jake ordered. "We need to report this to Earth Command." "Sir," Dr. Walsh said, "I think we should stay and try to understand what happened." Jake shook his head. "No. Something about Earth terrifies them. We need to know why before we meet any more aliens." As the UES Horizon turned toward home, none of the crew knew that across the galaxy, ancient computers were waking up. Files that had been sealed for millions of years were being opened. Warnings that had been forgotten were now screaming through space. On distant worlds, alien leaders were calling emergency meetings. Military fleets were changing course. Entire civilizations were making plans to move away from human space. All because 3 humans on a small ship had said one simple word: Earth. The journey home took 2 weeks. During that time, Jake and his crew tried to understand what had happened. They studied every recording of the alien contact. They analyzed the alien ship's design. They listened to the communications the aliens had sent. But nothing made sense. Earth was just a planet. Humans were just people. They had no great weapons, no terrible powers. They were explorers who wanted to learn about the universe. Lisa spent hours working on the alien language. She learned that the aliens called themselves the Council. They seemed to represent many different species from across the galaxy. But every message they sent after meeting humans was the same: warning, danger, stay away. Dr. Walsh studied the alien technology. Their ship was far more advanced than anything humans had built. It could travel faster and carried weapons that could destroy entire cities. Yet they had run away from 3 humans on an exploration ship. Jake read every first contact protocol humans had ever written. None of them covered this situation. What do you do when aliens are afraid of you? When they reached Earth, Jake sent his report to the government. Within hours, every leader on Earth knew what had happened. Some wanted to prepare for war. Others wanted to try again with a different message. A few suggested hiding and hoping the aliens would forget about them. But Jake knew they could not hide. The aliens had found them. And somewhere in the galaxy there were answers about why the word Earth had caused such fear. He looked up at the stars from his office window. Out there, alien civilizations were making decisions about humanity. They were deciding whether humans were friends or enemies, whether Earth was safe or dangerous. Jake just wished he knew which one was true. On the other side of the galaxy, panic was spreading through the halls of the Galactic Council. Nexus Prime, the capital world where all the alien species met, was buzzing with activity. Ships were arriving from every corner of space, carrying worried leaders and frightened representatives. Archival keeper Velandra had not slept in 3 days. She was a tall, thin alien with long arms and glowing spots on her skin. Her job was to keep the old records safe, files that went back millions of years. Most of the time, her work was quiet and peaceful. Today was different. High Chancellor Mordek paced back and forth in the archive chamber. He was large and strong, with 4 arms and blue skin. As leader of the council, he had dealt with many problems. But this was the worst crisis he had ever faced. "Tell me again," he said to Velandra. "What exactly did the humans say?" Velandra checked her notes. According to Ambassador Kethvar, they said they were humans from the planet Earth in the Sol system. And that's when he ran? Yes. He immediately sent emergency signals to all council worlds and retreated at maximum speed. Mordek stopped, pacing. Kethvar has been a diplomat for 50 years. He has made first contact with hostile species, warlike races, even machine intelligences. What could make him so afraid? Velandra was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke in a whisper. "I think I know, but I need to check the deep archives." The deep archives were stored in the lowest levels of Nexus Prime. These were records so old that most people forgot they existed. Files from species that had died out long ago. Warnings from civilizations that no longer existed. Velandra led Mordek down into the dark tunnels. The walls were covered with crystal storage units, each one holding thousands of years of history. She moved quickly through the maze of corridors, looking for one specific section. "Here," she said, stopping, in front of a wall covered in red warning symbols. "The quarantine files." Mordek looked at the symbols. They were written in the old language used by the first space-traveling species. Most modern aliens could not read it anymore. "What does it say?" Velandra touched the crystal storage unit. Lights began to glow and holographic words appeared in the air. She read slowly, translating the ancient text. "By order of the Cosmic Assembly, the world designated Terra is to remain isolated. The apex predators of this death world have been contained by natural disaster. Under no circumstances should contact be attempted." Mordek felt cold. "Death world," Velandra continued reading. "Classification, Class 12. Death world, Extreme hazard. Primary life forms demonstrate unprecedented adaptability, aggression, and survival instinct. How old is this record? 65 million years. Mordek stared at the glowing text. That's impossible. No species survives that long. But Valandra was reading more. Her glowing spots were getting dim, which meant she was scared. Previous contact attempts resulted in the complete assimilation or extinction of 3 separate first contact teams. What does that mean? The first contact teams were either killed or converted, made to work for the humans instead of their own people. Mordek sat down heavily. Show me the detailed reports. Valandra activated more crystal units. New text appeared, along with images and video records. The files showed a blue-green planet covered in water and clouds. It looked peaceful and beautiful. This is their world 65 million years ago, Valandra explained. The first contact team landed during what they called the late Cretaceous period. The video showed large reptilian creatures moving through forests. Some were plant-eaters, peaceful and slow. Others were hunters with sharp teeth and claws. The team made contact with the dominant species, Valandra continued. Large reptiles that ruled the planet. Initial contact was successful. Trade agreements were established. What went wrong? Valandra's voice became very quiet. The humans happened. New images appeared. Small, furry creatures that looked almost harmless. They were much smaller than the reptiles, with no claws or sharp teeth. These were the humans? Mordek asked. Their ancestors. The contact team thought they were just animals. Pests. They ignored them completely. The next images showed chaos. The small, furry creatures were everywhere. They had learned to use the alien technology. They had built weapons from medical supplies. They had turned farming tools into bombs. In 6 months, Valandra read, the humans had reverse-engineered our technology and used it to wipe out the dominant reptiles. They took control of their entire planet. What happened to the contact team? That's the worst part. Valandra showed the final report. The humans didn't kill them. They made friends with them. They shared food, played games, told stories. Within a year, 2 of the 3 contact team members refused to leave Earth. They said the humans needed their help. Mordek stood up quickly. They converted our people? The surviving team member wrote that humans have a natural ability to form emotional bonds with other species. They called it making friends. But the report classified it as a form of mental control. More files appeared showing other contact attempts over the millions of years. Each one ended the same way. Alien visitors either died fighting humans or joined them willingly. The last entry, Valandra said, recommended that Earth be quarantined forever. They said humans were too dangerous to exist in galactic civilization. But the quarantine was broken, Mordek realized. The natural disaster they mentioned. A giant asteroid hit Earth. It was supposed to destroy all life on the planet. Valandra showed images of the impact. Every species on Earth should have died, but the humans survived. Not just survived, they evolved. They grew stronger. They spread across their entire planet. And now they have reached space. Mordek was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "What does the final warning say?" Valandra read the last entry in the ancient files. Should the inhabitants of Terra achieve spaceflight, all civilizations are advised to withdraw to minimum safe distance and await further instruction. Do not attempt communication. Do not attempt trade. Do not allow them to learn about other species. But Kethvar already made contact. Yes, and now they know we exist. Mordek looked at all the glowing files around them. Millions of years of warnings about one small planet. What do we do? The protocols are clear, Valandra said. We evacuate all border worlds near their space. We recall all ships from that region. We prepare defenses. You think they'll attack us? Valandra looked at the images of humans making friends with aliens. I think they'll do something much worse. They'll make us like them, high above them. In the council chambers, representatives from 200 worlds were demanding answers. Emergency fleets were being mobilized. Entire star systems were preparing to evacuate, all because 3 humans had said they came from Earth. Captain Jake Morrison was eating breakfast in his quarters when the emergency alarm started ringing. He dropped his coffee and ran to the bridge of the UES Horizon. His crew was already at their stations, looking worried. "What's happening?" Jake asked. Lieutenant Lisa Hayes pointed at her screen. "Sir, we're receiving massive data transmissions from across the galaxy. Hundreds of different sources, all talking about us." "About us?" Dr. Amanda Walsh looked up from her science station. "Captain, every major communication network in this region of space is broadcasting our first contact encounter. They're sharing it with everyone." Jake sat down in his captain's chair. "Show me." The main screen filled with alien text in dozens of different languages. Their computer worked hard to translate everything, showing subtitles in English. "Emergency alert to all Federation worlds. Maintain minimum distance of 50 parsecs from Sol system. Council security notice. All trade. Routes near Earth space are now classified as extreme hazard zones. Military command to border fleet. Evacuation of outer colonies authorized immediately." Jake stared at the messages scrolling across the screen. "They're all running away from us. Why?" Lisa turned from her station. "Sir, I'm detecting massive ship movements. Every alien fleet in this part of space is retreating toward the galactic center." "How many ships?" "Thousands. Maybe tens of thousands." Dr. Walsh was studying the communication patterns. "Captain, based on these transmissions, it looks like the entire Galactic Council is treating us as a major threat." Jake shook his head. "We're 3 people on an exploration ship. What threat could we possibly be?" His question was answered when an encrypted transmission arrived from an unknown source. The message was heavily coded, but their computer eventually broke through the security. "Message received," Lisa announced. It's addressed to humans." "From who?" "The sender identification is blocked. But Captain, I think you need to read this." Jake read the decoded message aloud to his crew. "To the humans of Earth. We are sending this message secretly against Council orders. You deserve to know why the galaxy fears you. Attached to this transmission is an ancient file from the Council archives. It explains your reputation among the stars. Read it carefully. Your future, and ours, may depend on what you do with this knowledge." The attachment was a document written in multiple alien languages, with a rough translation into English. As Jake began reading, his crew gathered around to listen. Species report. Humans of Terra, also known as Earth. Classification. Class 12. Death World survivors. Primary characteristics: extreme adaptability, persistence hunting behavior, pack bonding with non-related species. Jake paused. Death World? Dr. Walsh looked confused. "Earth isn't a death world, it's just normal." Jake continued reading. Survival rating. Unprecedented. Humans are the only known species to survive and thrive on a Class 12 death world. They demonstrate the ability to adapt to any environment, consume any available food source, and weaponize any available materials. "That doesn't sound right," Lisa said. "We're not that dangerous." Historical note, Jake read on. Previous contact with humans resulted in rapid technology absorption and cultural integration. Warning: humans appear to convert other species to their cause through a process they call friendship. This process bypasses normal diplomatic and military defenses. The bridge was quiet for a moment. "There's more," Jake said. "Combat assessment. Humans do not engage in warfare like other species. They engage in total war, using every available resource and strategy. They demonstrate willingness to sacrifice themselves for pack members and show no fear of death when protecting others." Dr. Walsh spoke up. "Captain, this sounds like they're describing a completely different species." Jake kept reading. Environmental assessment. Human homeworld demonstrates extreme conditions that would be lethal to most galactic species. Atmospheric composition is highly corrosive. Gravity is excessive. Weather patterns include violent storms, temperature extremes, and geological instability. Humans describe these conditions as normal and pleasant. "Our air is corrosive?" Lisa asked. "To them, apparently. Jake replied. He found the next section. Biological assessment. Humans heal from injuries that would be fatal to other species. They can survive without food for extended periods. They can function in environments that lack adequate oxygen. Most concerning, they improve their physical capabilities through deliberate stress and damage to their bodies. They're talking about exercise, Dr. Walsh realized. Jake nodded and continued. Psychological profile. Humans form emotional attachments to other species with unprecedented speed and intensity. They will adopt orphaned young from any species and raise them as their own. They show distress when unable to help others, even strangers. This behavior makes them extremely dangerous to galactic stability. Dangerous because we care about people? Lisa asked. Apparently. Jake found the final section of the report. Recommendation. Under no circumstances should humans be allowed to interact with galactic civilization. Their tendency to help other species results in rapid cultural changes and technological advancement that disrupts the established order. Previous human contact resulted in 2 species achieving spaceflight centuries ahead of natural development, and 1 species abandoning their homeworld to live on Earth. Jake finished reading and looked at his crew. They all stared back at him with expressions of disbelief. So, Dr. Walsh said slowly, they think we're dangerous because we're too friendly? And too tough, Lisa added. Jake thought about Earth. He remembered the hurricanes he had weathered as a child, the mountain climbing he enjoyed as a hobby, the way humans instinctively helped each other during disasters. To him, it was all normal. But maybe normal for humans was extraordinary for everyone else. There's a personal message at the end, Jake said. He read it aloud. Humans of Earth, this file represents the views of the Galactic Council leadership. Not all of us agree with their assessment. Some of us believe the galaxy needs humans more than we fear them, but change will not come easily. The Council has already begun evacuating worlds near your space. They are preparing to quarantine your entire solar system. Who sent this? Lisa asked. Jake checked the message details. It doesn't say, but they're taking a big risk by contacting us. Dr. Walsh was studying her instruments. Captain, I'm detecting more ship movements, a lot more. It looks like entire star systems are being evacuated. Jake looked at the main screen showing the streams of alien communications. Millions of beings were fleeing from human space, terrified of 3 explorers who just wanted to make friends. What do we do, sir? Lisa asked. Jake was quiet for a long time. Then he made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. We go home, he said, and we tell Earth what we've learned. Then we decide what kind of neighbors we want to be. Admiral Zefkrin had commanded starships for 30 years, but he had never seen anything like this. His fleet of transport vessels stretched across 3 star systems, carrying millions of refugees away from what the news broadcasts were calling the human expansion zone. The evacuation had started small. A few border worlds, some research stations, a handful of mining colonies, but panic spread faster than official orders. Now entire civilizations were abandoning their homes, afraid of humans they had never seen. Zefkrin stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching another convoy of civilian ships pass by. Families who had lived on the same worlds for thousands of years were now homeless, carrying whatever they could fit in their ships. Admiral, his communications officer called out, "We're receiving another distress call from the Kepler colonies." What's their status? Complete evacuation requested. They want immediate transport for 3 million residents. Zefkrin closed his 4 eyes and rubbed his scaled forehead. Tell them we'll be there in 6 hours. Add them to the refugee list. Meanwhile, on Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was meeting in emergency session. The Great Assembly Hall was packed with representatives from 200 worlds. Everyone was talking at once, creating a noise that hurt to listen to. High Chancellor Mordek stood at the center podium, trying to restore order. Quiet. We must have quiet. The noise slowly died down. Mordek looked around the assembly. He saw fear in every face, no matter what species they were. We are here to discuss the human situation, Mordek announced. As you all know, contact has been made with the inhabitants of Earth. Based on our historical records, this represents a significant threat to galactic stability. War Marshal Graktoth of the Kethrim hegemony stood up. The Kethrim were known as the most warlike species in the galaxy, with thick armor plating and natural weapons. If anyone should be eager to fight humans, it would be them. Honored Chancellor, Graktoth said, my people have studied the human historical records that we intercepted from their communications. We recommend immediate withdrawal from all systems within 100 parsecs of Earth. The assembly erupted in surprised voices. If the Kethrim were afraid, everyone should be afraid. Explain your reasoning, Mordek requested. Graktoth activated a holographic display showing Earth's surface. Look at their world. The atmospheric pressure would crush most of our people. The oxygen levels would poison us. The gravity would break our bones. And they call this a nice day for a walk. The display changed to show human cities. They build their settlements in areas with violent weather, dangerous wildlife, and geological instability. Places we would classify as emergency evacuation. Zones they call home. Representative Ciliana of the Harmonist Collective fluttered her crystalline wings nervously. The Harmonists were a peaceful species that settled all disputes through discussion and compromise. Surely they can be reasoned with, she said. The humans who made contact seemed confused by our fear. Perhaps if we explain our concerns. Graktoth's laugh was a harsh grinding sound. Honored Representative, do you know what humans call playing with their children? They throw them into the air and catch them. They chase them around and make loud noises to frighten them. They consider this fun. Ciliana's wings drooped. That sounds aggressive. It gets worse, Graktoth continued. They have a practice called sports, where they deliberately injure each other for entertainment. They have contests to see who can endure the most pain. They voluntarily climb mountains that could kill them just to see what's at the top. Defense Minister Krayoth raised his tentacles. What about their military capabilities? Graktoth's display showed human historical records. In their recent history alone, they fought a global war that lasted 6 years and killed millions of their own species. The moment that war ended, they divided into 2 groups and spent 50 years pointing planet-destroying weapons at each other. Why didn't they destroy themselves? Someone asked. Because they were too busy advancing their technology and exploring space. Even while threatening each other with extinction, they were building better spaceships and developing new weapons. The assembly was quiet for a moment. Then Trade Representative Yelmaran spoke up. What does this mean for commerce? My people have investments in border systems. Evacuate them, Graktoth said simply. Humans have a concept called free market economics. Based on their historical records, any species that tries to trade with them ends up economically dependent on them within decades. Mordek called for order again. We need concrete recommendations. What are our options? 3 choices, Graktoth replied. First, we could attempt to destroy them before they spread through the galaxy. Can we do that? Krayoth asked. Theoretically, yes. We have superior technology and numbers, but humans have something we lack. Graktoth paused. They improve rapidly under pressure. Every time someone tries to kill them, they become harder to kill. Their own history shows this pattern repeating for millions of years. What's the second option? Complete avoidance. We withdraw from all systems near Earth and establish a quarantine zone. We forbid any contact and hope they stay in their own region of space. And the third option? Graktoth was quiet for a long moment. We try to establish peaceful relations and hope they don't decide to help us improve our civilizations. The assembly erupted in worried voices again. Everyone had heard what happened to species that humans decided to help. Meanwhile, aboard the UES Horizon, Captain Jake Morrison was making preparations for the most important broadcast in human history. His ship had reached the edge of Earth's solar system, where communication relays could carry his message across the galaxy. Dr. Amanda Walsh worked on the technical aspects of the transmission. Captain, I've figured out how to broadcast on all the frequencies the Council uses. Whatever we say, every major world in the galaxy will hear it. Lieutenant Lisa Hayes was preparing the translation systems. Sir, I've programmed our message to automatically translate into all known galactic languages. There won't be any confusion about what we mean. Jake stood in front of the recording equipment, thinking about what to say. The galaxy was afraid of humanity. Entire civilizations were running away from them. But Jake knew something the aliens didn't understand. Humans were dangerous, yes, but they were dangerous to threats, not to friends. And Jake was about to make the galaxy an offer they couldn't refuse. "Are we ready?" he asked. "Ready, sir," Lisa replied. Jake looked directly into the camera. "Begin transmission." His words would reach every corner of the galaxy. They would change everything the aliens thought they knew about humans, and they would transform 3 small species of mammals from Earth into the guardians of galactic civilization. The age of human expansion was about to begin. Captain Jake Morrison stood in front of the camera, looking directly into the lens. He knew that in a few minutes his words would reach every major world in the galaxy. Millions of alien beings would hear what he had to say. "To all the civilizations of the galaxy," he began, his voice calm and steady, "we have learned about our reputation. We know that you are afraid of us. We understand why you think we are dangerous." The transmission was being broadcast on every frequency the Galactic Council used. On Nexus Prime, the Council Assembly stopped their emergency meeting to listen. On refugee ships throughout space, aliens paused their evacuation to hear what the humans would say. "You have files about us that are 65 million years old," Jake continued. "You call us apex predators from a death world. You think we will destroy your civilizations or convert your people to our cause. Maybe you are right about what we are, but you are wrong about what that means." Jake paused, thinking about his next words carefully. "Yes, we are predators, but you have forgotten something important about predators. The most successful predators don't just hunt, they protect. They defend their territory, their pack, their family." On Nexus Prime, High Chancellor Mordek watched the transmission with growing concern. This was not what he had expected humans to say. "We know you have been evacuating worlds near our space," Jake said. "You think we want to conquer you, to take your planets and your resources, but we don't want your worlds. We want something much more valuable." Jake stepped closer to the camera. "We want you as allies." The transmission continued as images began appearing on screens across the galaxy. Pictures of human families, communities, working together, people helping strangers during disasters. Earth made us what we are because it taught us to survive together. Every challenge on our world was too big for one human to face alone. We learned to form groups, to protect each other, to share resources and knowledge. The images showed humans rescuing people from floods, sharing food during famines, working together to build cities and explore space. You call this pack bonding, and you think it's a form of control. But it's not about control, it's about choice. We choose to help others because that's how we survive, and now we choose to help you. Admiral Zefkrin watched the transmission from his refugee transport ship. He had been expecting threats or demands for surrender. Instead, he was seeing something he had never encountered before. Predators who wanted to protect instead of consume. "We see that you face threats in your galaxy," Jake continued. "We have studied your quarantine zones, your forbidden sectors, your unsolved problems, species that are too dangerous for your ships to approach, phenomena that destroy entire worlds." The display changed to show coordinates in space, locations marked with danger symbols in every galactic database. "These don't frighten us. They are simply challenges we haven't met yet." Jake's image was replaced by a star map showing the UES horizon changing course. Instead of heading toward any inhabited system, the ship was moving toward a region of space marked with the universal symbol for extreme hazard. "We're transmitting our destination now. There is a devourer swarm in the Zephyr system that has been consuming worlds for 3 centuries. Your fleets can't stop it. Your weapons can't hurt it. But we have something you don't." Dr. Amanda Walsh stepped into the camera frame beside Jake. "We have the ability to adapt, to learn, to turn any situation into a survival challenge." The transmission showed detailed scans of the devourer swarm, a mass of living ships that consumed entire planets to fuel their reproduction. Any species that wants to join us in hunting this threat is welcome, Jake announced. Any species that prefers to maintain distance is free to do so. But know this: the galaxy is under our protection now, whether you want it or not. On Nexus Prime, the Council Assembly was in chaos. Representatives were shouting questions and demands. Some wanted to mobilize fleets to stop the humans. Others wanted to evacuate even more worlds. War Marshal Graktoth stood up slowly. "They're not threatening us," he said quietly. "They're offering to protect us." "From what?" someone shouted. "From everything," Graktoth replied. "Look at what they're doing. They're heading toward the most dangerous threat in our region of space. They're offering to fight it for us." Representative Ciliana fluttered her wings nervously. "But what do they want in return?" Graktoth looked at the screen showing Jake Morrison's face. "Nothing. That's what makes them so dangerous. They're not asking for payment or territory or resources. They're just going to start protecting us." The transmission was ending, but Jake had one more thing to say. "We are not asking for your permission to be here. We are informing you that you are no longer alone in the dark. The galaxy has new guardians now. We are humans from Earth, and we hunt in the dark so others can sleep safely in the light." The screen went black, leaving the galaxy to process what they had just heard. 3 months later, the Zephyr system was the site of the largest space battle in galactic history. The Devourer swarm that had consumed 17 civilizations faced something it had never encountered before: a combined human-alien fleet. Captain Jake Morrison commanded the UES Horizon alongside Admiral Zefkrin's flagship. Human tactical thinking combined with alien technology created weapons and strategies the swarm couldn't adapt to fast enough. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it was over, the Devourer swarm was completely destroyed. Ambassador Kethvar, now serving as the first alien officer aboard a human vessel, sent a report back to the Council. "I understand now why the ancient warnings described humans with such fear. It wasn't because they would destroy us. It was because we would never be the same after meeting them. We are no longer a galaxy of separate species competing for resources. We are a pack, working together to survive. The humans have made us stronger, braver, more willing to face challenges we once thought impossible. They have shown us that the most dangerous predators are the ones who choose to protect rather than consume. The galaxy has learned Earth's true name, and with it, discovered that sometimes the thing you fear most is exactly what you need." 6 months after first contact, the great refugee fleet was returning home, but they weren't returning alone. Human ships escorted them, carrying human families who wanted to see alien worlds, human scientists who wanted to learn from alien knowledge, human teachers who wanted to share what they had learned on Earth. The age of galactic civilization had begun with humans as its unexpected guardians. And across the void, other ancient threats began to take notice. They had heard the name Earth spoken with dread for millions of years. Now they would learn why.